Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 25th of January, comes to you from Verbier in Switzerland. And we start by looking, as always, at currencies. Then we'll look at stock markets, some commodities, and just last of all, some tech stocks. And US markets up quite strongly last night, so that's pretty good news. Dollar index is just trading around this 100 level, and we're not really seeing any great sharp recovery from this. We might well find support on the cloud here on the medium-term chart. So um, you, we have seen this weakness, but maybe it is coming near an end. We do have these downside targets, of course. One as much as 3% downside on the dollar index. So still the picture is long-term bullish, short-term bearish, but looks like we're just starting to see some signs of recovery through the cloud. We need to get back above 102 really, 101 on the lagging line, and that if that happens in the next few days, and of course the great thing about the cloud is that as time goes on, it has less work to do to get through that, and so we might see us back into positive territory. But for the moment, it has just been a picture of dollar weakness over the last week or two. And if we look at the euro, that has then been euro strength. And as we're seeing the dollar index looking like signs of it breaking up through the cloud, conversely with the euro, we're seeing signs that it might break down through the cloud. And we've got a support level of about 107 on the price. We're at 107.22, so not too far away. We are just starting to see a little bit of a signs of a sell-off here, but the recovery this year so far has been pretty strong, and here it is showing up on the weekly chart. But these medium and long-term targets are there, so we can't ignore those. If we look at the Japanese yen, this also the dollar has shown quite considerable weakness here. We're just seeing the yen strengthen a little bit over the last few days, but at the moment it's not much happening there really. And if we look at sterling, sterling of course has had a great run lately. Is this a double top? If we fall through this sort of 124 level again, that's a bit like a fulcrum, where we will see this sort of double top pattern. Are signs that we might be just wandering out on the cloud here on the daily chart. We haven't done that for a very long time, so yeah, that is potentially good for sterling. But we do still have these downside targets in train. And if we look at euro sterling, we see here that the euro is effectively falling here. So again, just that weakness just creeping in. And looking at Swiss franc, where I am at the moment, just sitting at this 125 level, not really showing many signs of falling off against the franc. So sterling is strengthening there, and also against the Australian dollar, it's been quite a yo-yo, been as high as 170, back to 160, and so we are seeing sterling strengthen here as well. So across the basket, it's looking pretty good for the short term. Looking at the US stock market, 2280 is where we closed at. That's another 14 points higher. And that just takes us to a new high. You can see it here on the daily chart, just breaking above. So actually now again very strongly bullish in all three time frames. Notice that there were some short-term targets here. Because we've broken higher, that's negated all those targets. That's making the US stock market looking pretty strong. And in the Nasdaq, much the same picture, of course, breaking to 5,100. So we've broken that level. That's looking good. And again, any downside targets have been removed, so it's pretty bullish. Even the Russell 2000, that has been looking bearish of late. And we see here that we've had a strong rise last night, 1.6% up, taking us back into positive territory on the 60-minute chart. So it's looking considerably better. Dow Jones was up over 100 points, and we're at 19,912. So we only need another 100 points, and we're through that magic 20,000 level. Looks like it's going to happen pretty soon. Futures are up a little bit this morning, so that looks like we see a stronger opening again in the US market, looking pretty good there. FTSE barely changed yesterday, in fact. So with the stronger US market, that may well we may see a better day on FTSE as well. And if we look at the FTSE 250, the picture has been a bit bearish, but again, longer and medium term is pretty bullish. The DAX already up 0.4%, and so we're seeing this 12,000 level now looking quite likely. We're getting closer and closer to it. Break that consolidation pattern, and we'll run higher. If we look at Hong Kong, Hang Seng market is just flat at the moment. China and Hong Kong up very slightly. India are up pretty strongly, up 0.6%. So this market's starting to run, just about to come through the cloud on the lagging line, taking us to all three charts bullish. Some very big long-term targets. India looking great on the long term. And the Australian market had a good session overnight, up 0.4%, but we're just still below the cloud here. So unlike some of the other markets, we just haven't managed to get above. Brent and WTI both down about 0.5% this morning, down 0.4%. But we are still bullish above the cloud, so any weakness here, it looks likely to be short-lived. And nat gas up very, very slightly overnight. More importantly, it's taken us into this bullish territory on the cloud, so we might start to see some of this downward pressure disappearing. We've talked a lot about gold, and the gold price is just turning bearish now below the cloud, so we are just seeing a downside target. Quite a lot of support here, and we've got all these upside targets still, none of them yet negated, but if we break below some of these levels where the thrust targets were given, that would be bearish. So at the moment, gold is just showing a little bit of short-term weakness, which is quite key. Just looking at some of the tech stocks, Apple's down very slightly. Alphabet, which is of course Google, up 0.5%. So that was looking pretty good. That pattern now looking very, very strong, taking out that October high, really starting to run there on Google. Amazon was up pretty strongly as well. So that's all these tech stocks. There's almost one certainty at the moment is that tech stocks look pretty good, and Amazon running here. We see here making new highs as well, so that's looking pretty bullish. And if we take a look at Microsoft, we see here that again we really popped last night. We're just up nearly 1%, running away now. And reporting earnings quite soon, Microsoft. So again, just seeing, I think it's this evening that we see earnings from Microsoft. Charts starting to run ahead of that. And Facebook, not quite through that magic 130 mark, but just holding its own, up 0.3%. Again through the cloud here, so looking pretty bullish. New upside target potential here of 135. Again, earnings not too far away with Facebook either, 1st of February. So that's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.